Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Takeoff Tuesday. Another beautiful day. Happy to have you all here. And yeah, what an exciting night we had on Invest Edge. Big announcements, big things coming. People always wonder why I stick around with Bernatus for so long. It's because it keeps getting better, folks. Just keeps getting better. So the saga continues. Go. All right, just trying to get this other thing to load up here. Those things. This internet, that internet. All right. That'll load in a minute. Okay, well, welcome. Takeoff Tuesday. How are we going to make the most of it? Well, first off, I want to say a big congratulations to Mr. Bill Predabon for becoming the next esteemed Renatus instructor. It's a big deal. It's a big accomplishment. It takes a lot of hard work, dedication, and character to be able to do that. Not just making money, but it's also who you're being. You know, Bob is very particular about who he lets be an instructor. And Bill, the Bulldog Predabon, has earned it. And I actually don't know if he really goes by Bulldog. I just kind of made that up. But I like it, so we'll go with it. All right, I see. I need to assign some co-hosts to let other people in. There we go. There we go. Okay. Yep. There we go. Okay, so something I got out of last night listening to Bill was he is a powerhouse of knowledge. This class is going to be awesome. I'm requesting right now, let it be on the record, I'm requesting it be a Saturday recording of live education on a Thursday. So Bill, if you have any any sway or pull on how that unfolds, I know we can get a lot more people to show up if it's on a Saturday. You know, and then corporate can take Monday off. If they got to come in, you know, staff has to come in on Saturday. It's fine, no big deal.
Email, are you talking about the recording? Recording of the class?
Oh, let me do one thing quick. Do one thing. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Huh.
But it's
Yeah, I have my volume up already.
I know what's going on. With an extra tab open. And it's altering my sound. Let me try this one more time.
I can hear you fine. Yeah, I can hear you.
I can see the green square. I can see that you're talking. Do this. Stop. Okay. All right. What were you saying, Gilda?
Oh, no, I was saying, are you talking about the recording of From Ground Up? Is that what you're talking about? Filming it on a Saturday?
Yep. Yep.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome.
You second that?
Yes. Hopefully, it's not the 2 Saturdays that we have events here in Chicago.
Yeah, I guess you guys will just have to cancel it so that you can.
Yeah. Well, at least if it's a Super Saturday, I can get a recording of it, so I can I can multitask. But if it is an intensive, we can't get the recording.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they changed that. Remember a while back, because Renatus is not allowing them to give the recording because of it's an intensive. Now, if it's a workshop, then yeah, they can give the recording. But if it's one of the instructors, yeah, they can't.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. I told you that a while back. Remember? It's
Yeah,
been there.
yeah. But then you
Mm-hmm.
guys got a new system, so I thought maybe something about that changed because you can put expiration dates on recordings and it not be, out in the open forever. But
Right. Well, it was supposed to be only good for 30 days anyway, but even with that, apparently the corporate said no. So, yeah, but they've been bringing people, actually, like last month, it was Justin Kane. So we were able to get the recording of that. And, but this month, the 15th, is going to be Chris Albin. So no recording for that one.
well, we got to get it on a Saturday because I want to have the
Yeah.
studio full, and maybe we'll have
Did you have the date yet on that? I mean,
this time.
it was in
No, it's gonna
April.
be it's gonna be after nationals.
Nationals. Okay.
Speaking of nationals, the registration is going up. People are getting their tickets, so good job, everybody. It's exciting to see. But some of you on this call don't have your ticket yet, so go ahead and get it now. We've got 18, 18 more days until the price goes up. And if you're one of those people that likes to pay full price, go ahead and just get your ticket now and then send me the $50 and it'll be like you paid full price. Um, just kidding. Get it now, get it early. I saw that the DC team just grabbed the front rows of the middle section. You guys don't want to sit in the back, so go grab your seats now. There's a couple more surprises that Mr. Snyder's going to be sharing at nationals. Of course, he's always got a surprise of something or the other, and it's going to be good. So, how many of you are working actively right now to get a guest to nationals? That is one of the major questions because in years past, nationals has just been internal, right? ICM only stuff. And of course, we would have a Thursday night meeting, and some people would join the ICM so they could spend the next part of the weekend with us. But we weren't necessarily selling them the education. We were just training our field. Well, this one's got a dual effect. We're going to be able to train the field while enrolling people in the education. And so I've been targeting with my messaging, I've been targeting Northern Utah, within 90 minutes or so of the event center. And right now, yes, Deborah, you can assign them a seat. Yeah, so do them a favor and help them sit up front. The first 500 get assigned seats, and then after that, it's going to be overflow. They'll probably be able to scoot another 100 into the main spot, but on the diagram on the website, look at it, it says after 500 it's an overflow. So get your ticket now. Anthony's building for it. He's in 7 different time zones. Awesome. Kaiserman, Ada, Doug, Gilda, you building for it? Awesome. Tamara's robot, are you building for it? So something else I'd like to see, maybe this is true, maybe not, but it appears to be true. You guys can help me validate this. On the top 10, let's just go over Richard's team or Scott's team. Can you just tell me real quick? Okay, so number one guy, Coulter, Richard's team, right? Number two, Richard's team. Number three, Wade. He's from Illinois, so he's got to be Scott's team. Cool, good for him.
Yeah,
Let's see.
that is
Okay,
Chicago.
so then it's Richard's team, Richard's team, Richard's team, Richard's team, Richard's team, Richard's team, and Richard's team. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? How many of you were signed up for ATM where Richard could train you? I think this makes a compelling argument that if you are not enrolled in the ATM program, to do it, you still can. I'm actually going to drop the info in the chat right now. Let's see, copy, paste, because I asked Richard, can people join late? He said yes. Yes,
Yeah,
you
he
can.
said, and he sent the link, to pay the by Venmo.
So there's his Venmo, and then you'll request access to this Facebook group, which is just a screenshot and not a link.
Were you in person, Michael? I didn't see you online.
No. Friday went to what's the vernacular of the uncouth? They went to hell in a handbasket. So
That's why I'm
I
like, what
played,
happened? I thought you said you were gonna be there.
yeah, no, I got to play catch up. But
Yeah, that's a
let's
good thing about the recording because you can watch it on a weekend.
right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so groups, and I'll just drop this link in here, and then we will get underway with our special trainer. EMT Warriors. EMT, just kidding. ATM. ATM success. So there it is. Okay, open this up. We'll grab the link. This one right here. So Venmo Richard, the 97, will send you over the workbook, request access to this group. He just made a post last night about it. A bunch of people are jumping in. And anyway, this is a great group to be involved in. And then also, if you want to call Richard, his phone number is right here. If you need help getting registered, there's that for you. So anyway, jump on in. Let's have some fun. So yeah, big shout out to Richard's team. I know it's not like that every week, but it is it's evident who's working right now. And it's exciting to see. Yeah, 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 in the top 10 this week. Want to make more sales? Go to ATM. All right. All right, cool. Cool. So anyway, look for that. Link is in the chat. Come play ATM. Be a part of the top 10. It's just an everyday occurrence in our world. You know what will really shake it up though is all these test drives that the Chicago team is selling and seeing those come through as combos in the next week or so, we should see the competition get real thick, as they say. And this is exciting, right? This is a complete shift from this time last year or even 6 months ago. How much more activity is happening on the Renata sales side. I mean, real estate never slowed down, right? We're always cranking out real estate like there's no tomorrow. But the sales side is definitely picked up in a big way. So it's your opportunity to start putting these $12,000 checks in your pocket. And if you're not 5-star, the checks are only $4,000. So get 5-star. Become a 5-star mentor in a way, become a 5-star affiliate, become 5-star qualified, and you'll have a whole new life. You'll go from self-employed to business owner status once you're 5-star, because anyone you enroll under that starts to work with and for you, and that's leveraged income. That's business income. While you're just doing your own sales, that's self-employment income, which is fine. It's great. You're in control. But to get the skills, you join ATM. Also, Deborah just put a thing in the chat. She's got some rooms, a room block set up. So if some of you guys are looking for a super deal, she's lined some of that up. So go ahead and reach out to her, book your rooms, come to nationals. Don't miss it. You'll regret it. And I think it was Jim Rohn that said, the pain of discipline weighs ounces and the pain of regret weighs tons. Let's get to nationals. Okay. So Takeoff Tuesday. What an exciting time we had last night on the Invest Edge. Jay Stark, Matt Snyder, and Billy the Bulldog Predabon just going gangbusters about the new class, new edition, the expansion of the curriculum, and the strategy that, you know, I never thought about it till he put it in plain English for me, that you need the same number of contractors to do a little fix and flip as you need to do a ground up reconstruction. And and it actually makes their job easier because they can come in from scratch and do it right instead of patchwork, and all these great points he made about it. And then, you know, the insight into a little bit of the politics around city planning, permitting, do's and don'ts with insurance. I mean, this stuff can make or break you if you don't know it. And so we're super grateful to have Bill here with us today, and then especially to go into the illustrious status as an instructor with Renatus, and we're going to tote him around the country to all of our different communities and do some workshops with him, and really, you know, get the word out there about this angle on investing, helping more people become successful. And it's because he's coachable and listen to the people before him that he is where he's at today. And so it's a reminder to all of you to stay coachable with where you're at, whether you've had a lot of success, a little success, or that success is still coming. Stay coachable. We got 2 ears and 1 mouth. We need to listen more than we speak. Unless your name is Bill, then by all means, tell us. So anyway, welcome to the call. Good morning, Mr. Billy P. How you doing?
Great, man. Not a bad day. Thank
Right
you
on.
for
Thanks for being here, and congrats again on the exciting announcement last night that let the whole world know.
that's awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. And you know, Michael, everybody, Michael I know you had a voice in Bob's ear, and I really appreciate it, backing me up and having my back and just supporting me for, you know, I guess it's been, I can't remember when I joined this call, man. It was back when Christian was doing it. I used to listen to it when you were doing it, and then yeah, you know, John O'Neill was doing it.
Yeah,
So that was in 2017.
I was in the penthouse in Denver at the time. I remember. Yeah, 17, 18, somewhere in there.
Yep, 2017. I was listening to it, and I probably joined it in 2018, somewhere in there.
Yep, I remember that conversation. It was awesome.
Yeah. Just my 2 cents.
And it worked. It absolutely worked.
Um,
Yeah, Takeoff Tuesday. We haven't missed. If we were to count it now, 8 years of Tuesdays, that's 200 calls, 200 Takeoff Tuesdays with Billy
that's
P.
nice.
Yeah, so Mr. Consistency over here.
Well, I love everybody that comes on the call, and I love, I love this group and sharing, and I really appreciate you. Penthouse Huggins to Cabin Dad Huggins. Yep. The only thing that stays the same is change.
Yeah, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, this community is awesome, and one thing to act out your belief that this is awesome is to expand the community, to enroll people, to at least show them. If they say no, okay, sucks for them, but showing them and letting them say yes, giving them the opportunity to say yes, and kind of it's a duty, it's an obligation. Otherwise, they're hosed. They're on that treadmill running as fast as they can, but going backwards. So let's help them, get them out of the rat race. So what's on your mind this morning, Bill? How are we helping people get out of the rat race?
Well, that's a good question. I believe so. I try to keep this call, as you guys know. Oh, I missed that. As close to our marketing as possible, and apply it to the real world as well. So, as everybody knows, I mean, any tangent, any question, any direction anybody wants to go, we can go there, for sure. I think there is one thing, not one thing, but part of the process, I think, with enrolling students, and what helped me be successful was definitely and is definitely being the expert. And so there's a few things around it, I think, that we got to consider. And one is, one is that, and you've heard me say this probably, and I think that when I look back, I think about it all the time. There was a point when I came to Renatus back in the old days, the last system, the last program, when the majority of my studying took place, and it took place for quite some time. And then when I was offered the opportunity, even when I was away from Renatus for, there was an issue that came down in 2011, that separated me from Renatus, unfortunately. And whoops. Oh, you got them in. And oh, there they are. Hold on. Cool. Even during that time, I kept up my ICM every year, which is crazy. I texted some people. I texted this one girl, she's a 5-star, and I'm like, I didn't see you renew, and she's going through hard times. And it's unbelievable how the mind works. This is like a little bit of a tangent, but it's unbelievable how the mind and external pressure, probably family pressure, things like that, can basically cloud what would be considered logical thinking. You know what I mean? We kind of throw logic to the. It would make sense that if money and stress and all, mainly finances, was the problem, and you're 5-star qualified, even if you're not 5-star qualified, that that with a very small bit of effort, even an essential sale would cover your $197. Like, it's such a small investment. Like, if we, and I'll get back to what I was saying. So if we throw in the towel, if we don't continue to invest, if we don't continue to take calculated risks, and we isolate and retreat, right? There's no progress. Like what's left? Like hope and charity. You know what I'm saying? And that's an extreme, but every saying in the world about the perseverance of human nature, of humans themselves, especially of the American heritage and the American way, is that, you know, you press on, like when you double down when the going gets tough, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Like, so it was shocking to me. And no matter what I said, there was an excuse that came through the text as to why she didn't want to renew, and she didn't renew. I mean, I don't know if who's all 5-starred here, but you know, the journey is not a simple journey. The journey takes a mental commitment, and then it takes a physical commitment, you know, and then you've got to overcome objections. And you know, and it's a proud moment when you get your first sale of any kind, let alone get 5-star, right? And so to release that for $197 because times are tough, I mean, borrow the money. I don't even, I just can't fathom it. If she would have asked me, I would have paid it, right? She's my 5-star. But she didn't even ask me. And I didn't feel it right for me to offer, but I would have paid if she'd asked. And, you know, maybe she'll send an email to corporate. I just don't know. But what also gets me, it's interesting, the human nature. I'm getting to a point, and you guys can kind of follow me on this, but you know, we can kind of do a self-reflection all the time. It doesn't have to be just at the new year, but another one of my 5-stars texted me on the 1st of February. Correct. The answer is almost no. That's absolutely true. I ask all the time. The things that I ask are outrageous, to be honest with you. But she texted me on the 1st of September, of February. Hey, there's not a place to renew in the back office. What can I do? And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, no matter what, at some point in time, even if you didn't log into your back office, there was a notification in your email that you needed to renew, right? It is known. And then not only do we let people not renew in December, we give them an entire month in January. So it's interesting the way the mindset can trick us, and not the mindset, but well, I guess technically your mindset, but your mind in itself, your external influences, and you know, your environment, your status, or not your status, but like your current situation can just really deter you from the things that the core beliefs that you have, which as an entrepreneur, you know what I mean? It's so hard. And we have to stay focused. And I think part of that is going back to what I was saying is, you know, when I came to Renatus, I don't know what it was. I was very fortunate that I was really looking and open to an opportunity, I think. And it's funny because you know, when you used to listen to some of the top trainers back then, you know, the opening line on a 3-foot rule was, you know, if the timing was right and money wasn't an object, you know, do you keep your options open for opportunities, right? And that's the icebreaker. But it's so true, right? And so I happened to be open for an opportunity. It's interesting, like if someone was to, and they do, right, message you on Facebook or whatever it is, hey, I got this thing, or you know, they invite you to lunch and they end up pitching you on something, and you're not open to it. It's just it doesn't matter if they tell you could make $1 million in 5 minutes. I mean, you might look for some buzzwords, but at the same time, you're like, man, I'm just not I'm not in a place, right? I'm not ready to look for an opportunity. And a lot of times we run into those same prospects. But I was fortunate that I was, and I truly believe this. As you start to listen to the education, there, like when Mark Kohler said, this is the way that an LLC should be established as an operating entity. It should be taxed as an S corp as soon as you're making more than 50 grand. Well, I didn't make $5 yet, but I paid him back then, believe it or not, it was like $50 to select my LLC as an S corp. And so So I just knew that I was going to be making more than 50 grand. And so I just did it. I didn't even really know, even though I knew you save self-employment tax, and I owned a business, but I didn't understand that part because my accountants did my accounting and when I owned my business and I didn't. And so when Tony and Gavin said that you could, the way that they taught short sales back then, the only thing I did was listen to what they said. And I figured if I did what they said, then I would get the results that they're getting. So my point is I really like the idea. If you take the studying to, to heart and you really, even if it's enough studying to understand the material, but also know that it might not be the strategy you want to use, but you're familiar with it. You can have a conversation with someone about it, a relatively educated conversation. As you start to venture into things that you want to do, that you like to do. And I can imagine that it's difficult. I mean, I have not sat down and watched a class in my office with no other distractions, probably since 2019. I'd have to really think about it. Right. And I know there's a few classes that I should watch again and some new ones that have been recorded and stuff like that. I haven't watched the new class with the fund, with building a fund yet. What I do is I watch the classes when I'm at the gym, and I don't really watch them, right? I'm listening to them. And so or in the car. So I'm distracted. I pay attention, but that should be when you're repeating the class, after you've seen the class, after you've watched the class, after you've taken notes. Then you listen to it a second and a third time. You may not have to watch it for the uninterrupted time in the office or, wherever, or at the studio. But man, if you could go to the studio, you're not allowed to have your phone on. You know what I mean? You've got to pay attention. You get a chance to ask questions. It's a much more conducive environment to learning than it is on your own, because we have, fortunately the technology and Renatus has offered it to us on a wide variety of platforms, but you can never substitute for live training because you've got to catch it. The attention's there and you've got to be paying attention and you've committed to something, right? Versus, I'm going to watch it, but you've got a TV on or, your phone's next to you, whatever the case is. The kids are in the background, whatever the case is. So it takes a little bit more discipline in today's day and age, but I believe that if you're open and you really just take it to heart, whatever's told to you, like if I was in Richard's ATM, there would be nothing that I would question. If there was something that was told to do for homework, if whatever the case is, I may not like it and I may not want to do it, but I wouldn't question it. Like that's the system that's being taught that is working. One of the reasons I believe that is just because, with the people that we have here, obviously Richard is a proven veteran, right? He's been around Bob for 2 decades and then is a number one income earner, as Michael has stressed several times. The number of times that he's been there, but also that Bob Snyder himself has vetted these people that are in front of the room, the people that are leading the company. That when he went out during the change of 2011, he hand selected, a few individuals. Richard was one of them to start his company for him again, and so. He's hand selected every single practitioner that's in front of the camera. And so I can trust that the due diligence and the vetting has been done for me. And so all I really need to do is just apply what they say. So just food for thought to begin with, when it comes to prospecting and really, presenting the opportunity in its value. There's no better value than, even more so than what you have done by far, It's your ability to convey the message through the knowledge that you've gotten from the company, even if you haven't applied it. The interesting thing is when you get this knowledge and you're able to speak at a knowledgeable level about a certain topic or a type of investment strategy that you understand, you've listened to Amer talk about, you watch that Invest Edge, and then, when he does his class and you've seen the class, whether you've ever bought a park or not, if someone is interested, you can talk to that person about it as if you've done it. And then you ironically or coincidentally or additionally have the stories of the people that have actually done it, that are in the classes, that are in the community, that have done the work and have had the success. So you can quickly drop a name and a story and support your expertise in the topic that you're talking about to your prospect, because most prospects are coming to us with some sort of real estate background, some sort of business background. What I mean is they may not be in it, but they are looking for it. They've studied it somewhere, YouTube, they've been to a meeting, they've been somewhere, they've talked to someone, they're in some sort of industry that is cross-related. And so they're going to have a question. They think that they know where they want to go. Whether it's wholesaling, which is the obvious one, but whatever other type of freedom they're looking for, finances they're looking for, money, income that they're looking for, they have their own self-educated way of coming to you with this information. And when you can speak above it and you can speak to it and speak at it and actually come across as an expert and share stories that will support what they're looking for, it's that much more powerful to get people to enroll. It was interesting. People used to say to me, well, it was easier for you. You've done so many deals and stuff like that. I had never really done a successful deal when I got 5-star qualified. I was working on multiple short sales, 100 at a time. I'd been doing it for nearly 6 months. Well, I think 4 months. And I hadn't closed a single short sale dual transaction yet. But I decided I better start marketing because I'm not making any money. And so when I started introducing people, it was all word of mouth and warm market. I knew it so well that, like, I remember one guy, he said, so you're doing this? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, so you have this going on, you're working with the bank. And he was like, this is what you're actually doing? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, and it works. I'm like, well, it's working. I haven't closed the deal. He's like, all right, if you're doing it, I'm in. You know what I mean? Because of my ability to portray what it was I was learning and what it was I was actually doing in the world and working on. So and a lot of times there were so many more stories of everybody else that I was telling than my own. They weren't necessarily like, what has it done for you? They just want to know, does it work? And I could just share all the stories before me because I went to every meeting and listened to everybody and knew everybody around me that was having success. Naturally, because I probably envied them, so I wanted to know what the heck they were doing. You know what I mean? And where they had been. So yeah, people buy from you, and yeah, exactly. They don't necessarily buy because you're doing it. I think when you look at the Pace Morbies and the Donald Trumps and the Robert Kiyosaki's and all these influencers and things like that, that's a little bit different story. Their sales pitch is the amount of money their rags to riches story and the amount of deals they've done and the amount of money they made and the amount of people they've trained and that's Renatus's job, right? Renatus can claim all of that stuff. You don't need to. We're not selling ourselves. They are selling themselves. We are selling Renatus, right? We're selling the opportunity for someone to join a community that has almost 30,000 students over its lifetime of successful students, right? So it's as powerful as any other program. And so there is a difference when you're marketing online and you are an influencer and you have that type of following and you can claim certain claims that are relatively true, and you have a video and then you're meeting people that you'll never meet. People are signing up, following the footsteps, the steps, the online digital marketing plan that you've spelled out, and they're buying based on their hope that whatever it is you're saying will work for them. but it's a little different with this. As a former franchise owner, how would you reach franchise owners about Renatus opportunity? That is a good question. I will tell you, there were many times I was in my stores working. It'd be a slow time during the day, and someone would come in and pitch me an MLM. Most of them were my clients. They knew me. I shouldn't say clients. They were my customers. And so there was a familiarity, and they would quickly qualify for some time. I remember there was one guy that pitched me this Nona juice. I think I got pitched another energy drink. I know I got pitched Melaleuca and maybe even the big one. I can't remember. There was a good half a dozen times over the course of 7-8 years that I was pitched at my store. And again, one of the issues for me was I was pretty ignorant to MLMs. I didn't really understand it. So the environment to sell it to me at my store when I was working and something else is a priority and on my mind was probably not their best choice. They probably should have introduced it and then offered up another time for me to come and meet with them privately. And I could have given them more undivided attention, number one. Number two is I really wasn't interested. And again, I wasn't open for an opportunity at the time. So the answer to your question might be franchise owners. So business owners, this is tough. Here's the problem I have with business owners that own a franchise or own their own business. And I don't mean a work from home like business, like where they're a CPA and so they just started, Jimmy's CPA business, you know what I mean? But I'm talking about a brick and mortar type of mostly retail franchise owners, a restaurant franchise, a spa franchise, all these different things. Most of the time, those franchises, to be successful, require one of two things, if not both. They require the owner to be there quite often, at least in the first 3 years, where they run the business until they can train someone to take it over. And then they bought a second or third franchise. Or the person has just a lot of money and buys several franchises and runs it as a CEO from afar and doesn't run any of the stores, but has either family or friends or partners or very well-paid managers running the store for them. And there's enough locations to bring in enough money to cover a nice salary for the owner, in my opinion. I could be wrong now in nowadays franchises, but what I'm getting at is most of these people have put a lot of money and time and energy and thought into whatever their last career was to owning these stores. So they are not looking for a second career. They are not looking for another business. They're not looking for a side hustle, right? They're looking to make extra income by making more sales, by improving their bottom line in their own business. So the question would be to these franchise owners is what void do you have? What are you missing? What if life was perfect and I had a magic wand, what aspect to your business and your goal towards retirement, your goal towards income, your goal towards wealth creation, what is missing that I could offer you? And then they could tell you what it is, what aspect of Renatus would fit in their world and help them out. And so it could be learning to buy a rental passively, learning to be a passive investor. It could be, learning to use a self-directed retirement. It could just be tax and legal, right? It could be additional sales from the profits course. So any of those things might come up, but I would find it hard to believe that people like, people quit their jobs, they empty their savings and their retirement so that they can start their own business. So they're pot committed and they're not looking to subsidize that business. They're looking to improve. Their goal and their dream is to make that a successful business. Taking them away from that to go do a real estate career or market Renatus is really in my thought process. I could be wrong, but not in their lane and not what they're looking for. If that makes sense. So if I was going to, I would buy them lunch and I would take them away from their environment and I would ask them questions as to, what challenges do they have in reaching their goals? Are they out of time? And even if they're out of time, yes, real estate will free up time, but they're not out of time like they're working so hard, they're not with their family. They don't have enough time to make the business as successful as they want, probably because they don't have the knowledge. They've never done it before, so they're learning as they go. They don't have a mentor to teach them how to run a franchise. The franchise gets them to be in compliance, essentially, trains them well enough to be able to own their own store, but that they're not training them to be a business owner. There's a difference, right? So anyway, that would be my thought process. I would love to interview them, invite them to your podcast on what they like. Yeah. Oh yeah, you're saying the exact same thing, Anthony. It sounds like I would agree. We could build locations anywhere in the country. Yeah. Yeah, franchise owner's time, in my opinion, especially a single or double owner. I had 4 stores, but I had 3 partners. And we were, we had a pretty good life. But your 10 out, your 8 to 10 hours a day was at the job. And then if anybody didn't show up, you were there. And you really, we had set goals as to, what numbers we wanted to reach every month and every year. And that was our focus. Our focus wasn't buying real estate. I didn't really want to learn, I didn't know much about it. We were new to it. You wanted to buy your own family home and then you wanted to upgrade your family home, that sort of thing. So there's a lack of openness in those franchise owners, but Cold Stone Creamery franchise costs $300K to make $150K a year profit at highest performance. Yeah, which, if you think about it, the investment's not terrible over time, especially if you're willing to put in. I like the idea of a franchise. I mean, it's done for you. And so, it's if you're going to buy a job, that's a good job to buy. And eventually you can expand. And there's ways around some of the, you can do business as other businesses, and there's a lot of opportunity there, but it is a time consuming. Yeah, my most common customers are in construction, real estate agents. Yeah, this is bookkeepers, teachers, warehouse workers, stay-at-home parents. That's great information right there. I would agree on that. Some sort of real estate connection. I have a lot of contractors on my team. And just one-off entrepreneurs as well. People that actually do have, their own notary business, their own CPA business, their own accounting business, their own bookkeeping business, their own healthcare business, their own coaching business. Those types of business owners are familiar with one-on-one sales. They have no idea what to do when they have a good month with their money, right? Because they don't have a 401k that except of their own, if they even established it, right? There's no company giving them a company 401k and any type of match. So they now have to manage their own retirement. So as an individual at home, non-brick and mortar, even a smaller brick and mortar business, you do need to consider your retirement. Those types of business owners I would target as well, and through word of mouth, 3-foot rule, and that sort of thing. that's not a bad approach, Eric, to own the building, and to own the strip mall. But my suggestion would be, if that's the case, you would want to be a semi-expert in that field to sell them on that. It is not an easy task to go out and buy a strip mall, by any means, or even a commercial building. Commercial buildings are definitely far greater risks with far greater reward than per se a single family home. There's a lot more people looking for a single family home than to rent a business, a part of a building. So, location, cap rates, of course, strategic financing will come into place, owner financing, seller financing, subject to financing, hard money and private money will come into place buying a strip mall where they would want to own their building. I totally agree with you. In my experience, most of the people that I've dealt with that have looked at Renatus or invested with me, or, I've looked up to that are retired, they did buy their buildings, but you know who they were? They were doctors, lawyers, high-end CPAs, some sort of higher paid professional, maybe even some really good therapists, doctors of therapy and things like that, PT. But even some of the best people, the PT guy I go to does not own his building, right? It's not his alley. He's very good, charges $175 an hour, which is a decent wage. Works with some of the most professional athletes in the country and in the world that come to see him, and he doesn't own his building. Neither does his partner that owns the gym. It's a very unique type of gym next door, where they cross market to each other's clients and things like that. And it is not an easy thing. So it would be hard to pitch somebody, unless you were literally selling them a commercial buying class, right? There's strategies in Renatus that would help them, but they'd almost need a mentor, or they'd really want to be a very high risk taker. Does that make sense to you guys on what I'm saying? Like you and I would do it. All of us could take some of the different knowledge, because we have time to watch a lot of different classes and put it together, watch the commercial class and understand a cap rate, and then look to some sort of creative financing. But if we're not getting a traditional 25-year commercial loan with a 20% down large ticket item and something like that, and we're going to spend time being a landlord, we're going to have our space in the building and then also landlord around them. One of the estate plan lawyers that I know pretty well did exactly that. He bought his building in Old Town Scottsdale for 20 years when he was very young on owner financing, rented out 8 more professional buildings around him, and did it, right? I bought a commercial building in Ohio that I own today. It's a law office, 6 units. It's got 11 storage units and 2 apartments upstairs, a big mixed family. I did it because it's in Kent, Ohio, in Ravenna, Ohio, by Kent State University. And so it's all the lawyers were still under lease. And so and I had a property manager that lived in one of the apartments that was basically, I only had to pay her $100 a month to manage it because she was living in the apartment. So my point is, those types of people own their buildings, not necessarily these franchise owners and things like that. We never owned any of our buildings. It wasn't in our alley. I wish to God I did. I wouldn't have known anything about it. But if your eyes are open to it and there's an opportunity, then you could do it. I mean, you could introduce them to that possibility, and the right person would run with it. It's not a lost cause. I think it'd be very good to knock on any business owners' doors, go in during a slow time and take them to lunch. And and ask them questions on what they're looking for, and then have a really good link and some sort of information that you could present to them and give them that they could take with them, and then you could follow up with them on. Like, know your stuff before you go in there. If there's an instructor's bio that you could send to them, if there's a specific, really good intro that you like, the person who did it, and it kind of touched on something that would be relevant. It's not a 90-minute intro, maybe it's an hour intro to Renatus with a little bit of a pitch, with the pricing and stuff like that. Something good that you can introduce them to and then follow up with, and then really have like a business plan that you're offering them to get started. I think if it was simple and kind of in steps, I think the right franchisees and the right business owners would be open to it. Typically they've got resources. They don't necessarily have the extra $25,000 cash, but they have resources. We spend a lot of money as a franchise owner in marketing. About 40, it should even be more, but about 40% of our profits go back into the business and marketing. And then we're always short on inventory. We're always trying to buy more inventory. You do make good money, but you're always running paycheck to paycheck. I can't tell you every year, at the end of the year, you could look back, Christmas would come and we'd crush it and it'd be a great year. And then there were thin times when, sales were just down, different types of climates, weather, all kinds of things. Politics would take effect on people's shopping habits. And it was a direct relationship to your bottom line. And there are thin times. Even when I was making, when four of us were easily making multiple six figures, we were always broke. I mean, we weren't broke necessarily. We had good houses and stuff, lived in Southern California, played a lot of sports, sponsored a lot of sports teams, but we were never, we weren't ever really, like, I don't know what the right word was, but yeah, Mr. Christian George, for sure. All right. So I've been talking for a minute. I didn't realize that. I got 9:04. I got a 10 o'clock appointment. Probably got to leave in the next, or I got to get ready to go. I got a 10 o'clock today, but any other thoughts? No cash flush yet. Any other thoughts, you guys? Comments, questions? Anything about the class? I've started the outline, but anything about anything about anything? Anybody got anything? Anybody want to comment or add to what I was talking about? Any experiences you have, feel free. It's obviously a mastermind setting. You're welcome.
Maybe we
Hi,
should
Bill.
make a repository of all the questions that we want answered. There's Bill. All the questions that we want to see answered in the class, right? Like, if you can just, folks, if you have certain questions, not just for today, but that we can go emphasize in the class if it's relevant for the topic, you can go ahead and put those in here as well. But Gilda, you had a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just I was just wondering, Bill, what was the conversation like when, was that Bob Snyder that called you to be an instructor? And I'm just curious about, I mean, you don't have to show everything, whatever is private, but but I am just, curious about the conversation and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob did call me. And I do have his name and number in my phone, so when I recognize it, I always take it. It's pretty rare that if I don't take it, I call him immediately back, but I took his call, and we try to catch up, vice versa. I try to catch up with him too every few months or so. I think, maybe 6 months, and then in this particular case, he called and was very specific about, hey, and we caught up a little bit, but he said, I'd heard that you might be interested in teaching a class or, being an instructor. Because I've expressed this to, I talked to Jay about it years ago, several years ago. But I was, at the time I was focused also on a lot more on marketing as well. But anyway, regardless of that, and Michael had told him, Bob said Michael had mentioned it a couple of times and that he'd been meaning to get back with me about it and just had been busy. But he finally had a chance to call me. I think he was in the car and, asked if that was true. And I said, yeah, I would absolutely love. And he's like, well, what are you thinking? What's going through your mind? What have you been up to? And so I kind of gave him an idea of what I'd consider, a lot of things that we talk about here. I really like, one of the one of the things I was thinking about was something like the complete unknown, where we would talk about, and I could really teach, and I like to think of it as like the real real estate, like what it's really like when you're doing real estate. It is, and becoming an entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur. I don't, my experiences and not just my own, a lot of the people around me, a lot of my team members, it's not very much, what do they say? Cupcakes and ding dongs or roses and
I
flowers.
thought you just got a hot wife and moved a couple walls and made $100,000.
Right? Exactly. It is so funny, the American just won the Australian Open, Miss Keys, and the billboard in New York was, what was her saying? It's never overnight until it is, right? And just all of a sudden overnight, she's the Australian Open champion, but she had to beat the number, she beat number, I think 14, number 6, number 2, and number 1 on her way to win that Australian Open. Unbelievable, this last Australian Open for the women. But anyway, my point is that that was the idea of my class to him, and he's like, he liked that idea. But I started telling him what I've been up to about, like, you guys know I built this one in particular. The last 2 houses that I built from the ground up, netted over $1 million. And I didn't have a partner on either one of them. So one of them is in equity and one of them was for sale. And so the one before that, you guys remember, we netted over almost 500,000 on the glass house. That was a ground up construction. And then I'm building a 4th and a 5th one right now, and I'm building 6 units on one of my lots. So I was telling him a little bit about this, and he was like, wow, I've always wanted a new construction class. Would you be able to do that? And that really wasn't what I thought we were going to, because I didn't necessarily consider myself an expert, right? I haven't been building new homes, but there's a difference, I think, between, and in fact, I know there's a difference between being a builder, being a GC, and just being a guy or a girl or a person that is putting together some knowledge and can build a spec home. And there's a lot of reasons to build a spec home, obviously to make money, on a flip, on reselling the property. But, there's a lot of opportunity and different ways that we can use the BRRRR method, which he wants me to talk about, and really own the property free and clear if you wanted to. The majority I've told you guys of my triplexes, duplexes, and fourplexes, those that I own them with very little money of my own. I literally improved the NOI and improved the building itself so that when it comped out to 80 or 75% loan to value at least. And therefore, I was able to get a loan to cover all of my expenses, all of the private money, all the hard money, and or all the money I put in. So I pulled it all the way out. So I own those essentially with nothing in them. So it's a free and clear property to me. Even though I have a mortgage on it, it's essentially an infinite return on my investment. So these are some of the conversations we have. So he immediately just said, listen, I love it. If you're interested, would you get on a call on Friday in 2 days with Jay and I, and we could talk about the structure of the class and that sort of thing, the timing and everything like that. And I said, absolutely. And again, you know, thanks to our fearless leader, Michael, he did put a bug in Bob's ear, and Bob finally listened, and not finally, you know what I mean, but Bob, you know, the timing was right. And it sounds like I'm doing some of the things that Bob has always wanted as one of his classes. And so it worked out. So we might do 2 classes. I don't know for sure if I can integrate some of the real deal stuff I was talking about that I talk a lot about on here into the class. I've designed an outline so far, and then spoken again to them about it a little bit, to Jay about, you know, what he's looking for in the class. But you guys know me, right? Like, it's pretty funny, Gilda. I don't even yesterday's Invest Edge, I don't even know what I'm allowed to say, because here I just say whatever the heck I feel. You know what I mean? And there's no
Right.
compliance.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no,
Right.
and I'm not even talking about
Yeah.
swearing. I'm just talking about, you know, hey, this is the way you talk to, you know, this is the real reality of borrowing money. People have to realize it's, you know, there's risk to it, right? And this is the reality of dealing with this thing. And you know, there's got to be fine lines. I can't be just telling people to fly by the seat of their pants when they're out there listening to my class and going and do a deal. So there will be some editing, right? So there's a fine line we'll walk, but hopefully we can get a lot of the Predabon flair in
Yeah,
there.
though, you know, they'll delete that, or so,
Yeah.
they might blur it or something. So
Yeah, we
no,
might
is
have a
the
lot of those. What are those things called at the end of the movie where you blurp them out
yeah,
and
right,
the
exactly. So
cuts?
right, so no, is this going to be a completely different class? It's not replacing the land development that we have with Gary Cannon. It would still be there, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
this ground up class has nothing to do with entitling land. The
okay,
land is
okay,
already entitled. There's already utilities. There's already a road and an address. These are
mm-hmm,
what I call infill lots, and
okay,
they need to be built up. They're already existing in a nice area where all the utilities are there.
mm-hmm,
There's no extra work. You may
right,
rezone them, right? If
mm,
you're really looking to maximize the lot, sometimes you would rezone them. But in most cases, we're not going to be rezoning because I'm building an R1 in an R1 community. It's not like I
mm-hmm,
can go in between all these other houses and put in a duplex, right?
mm-hmm,
So for the most part, I'm not rezoning any of these things.
okay.
We're keeping it R1, and I'm building a single family spec home to cater to the area that's already there.
Okay. So it would be
And
kind of like, buying a single lot in a subdivision already, and all you have to do is just put the dwelling on there.
yep,
Okay, cool.
yep.
Well, thank you
And
very much.
yeah, it'll be an additional class in AIT.
So are you gonna be the number 44, or because I know there's 44 right now, so, or are you
Well,
the number 45?
I'm guessing Umair and I will fly out at the same time in April, and he'll film his class on mobile home parks, and I'll film this class.
Okay. All right.
So
Yeah,
I don't
keep
know
us
if
up.
he'll be 44 and I'll be 45 or vice versa.
Okay.
I was
I'm sure
hoping
you
you'd be
I'm sure you like to be
45.
45.
I was hoping
Bill.
you'd be 45 and 47, Bill.
Yeah. So that's what I'm
Yuck,
hoping
yuck,
is
yuck.
45.
I might be.
47.
There might be 2 classes. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, well, thank you so much, Bill. This is awesome. Congratulations again.
Well, I got to tell you, folks
Yeah.
like you guys have enabled me. I'm not kidding when I say this, Gilda and Doug and Scott. So, you know, Anthony, the Michael, of course, and now recently, and of course, Tamara, but Scarlett and now Eric recently, Jenny, and you folks have been here so long with me, and we've been able to talk on the Dream Team call or the Dream call as well for so long that you know, I feel like it's second nature to me to you know, not necessarily teach, but we mastermind together, and you guys ask great questions, and you guys also all bring great property issues to the table, like Michael's the other day when he was talking about his new construction in that commercial building and the cap rate and things we were talking about, and then all of a sudden things that I've dealt with, that I've experienced, and I've actually had some experience with, and either done it or worked on it or whatever, come to light, and I'm able to share and remember, and it's made it easy for me to transition into a class, I think, and so I'm grateful for this opportunity. If you guys weren't here asking questions, I would just be doing it all on my own and keep it all to myself.
Yeah,
So
but
thanks.
well, thank you so much, Bill. This is really awesome. And now that we're gonna be collaborating with one of the instructors, that's gonna be even better, right?
Yep. You guys are funny.
So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott's little comment, you guys, is pretty funny. And there was bloopers. Could you see a bunch of bloopers from that? And Bob's gonna have to leave the room. Jay's gonna be shaking his head. What did he just say?
I would like to be in that room when it's being recorded.
What Bill?
I'm with you.
Bill, you can't say that.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's going to be
Pro-
the whole
pro-
recording.
I know.
Will be very entertaining, right?
Right. I'm hoping. Oh, that's funny.
We need something with P's on the front of it. So how about Crudabon's Proverbs or something like that, you know? I don't know.
Right. Yep. That's funny. All right, gang. I'm gonna wrap it up. Sorry to leave early today. I got to get up to a 10 o'clock, and it's about a 20-minute drive. So
No, this is good. It's all good. I appreciate your time. And
hey, Anthony, good to see you, brother.
yeah, we're
Met
gonna
Anthony at my very first leaders retreat, bro. It was awesome.
Congratulations, Bill.
All
Well
right.
deserved.
Thank you, brother.
Congrats. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night. Cheers.
All right, make it a great day.
bye everyone. Hey, just wanted to remind everyone that we are going to be doing this workshop Cosimo on right here. If you go to the Team Elevate group right here, I wrote a little thing out. Come check it out. And if you didn't want to read it, you can skip to the last line. But register here. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a learning blocks workshop, and the whole idea is get over your own subconscious limits when it comes to learning and applying new things, especially taking new classes. You got to organize. Yeah, you got to organize information in a new way. There's Cosimo with Dad. Anyway, as more information comes to you, if you don't have a good way of organizing and storing that information, it's going to create some stress. And if you get into too much stress and into overwhelm, then your brain shuts down. Yeah, baby, I do. I like you too. Anyway, it's 2.5 hours. It's tomorrow. We're gonna be going over learning methods and how to stay organized when you're taking classes, when you're taking notes, when you're reading books, and just reduce your stress while you're in the learning mode, and you'll watch your results go up. And so anyway, you're all invited. That's tomorrow, but please register here. There's a worksheet that comes along with this that we'll be sending out ahead of time, so you're ready for that. So anyway, if you're not a part of the Renatus Team Elevate Facebook group, well, you ought to be.
Can you put the link to register in the chat?
Great idea. There we go.
Michael, will there be a recording on this one that you're putting out? Because tomorrow, I mean, I want to attend this, but I have a lot of guests because that's my day that I put, most of my people. So right now I have, a lot of people there.
I'm not sure about a recording. I'll ask Cosimo. But we made it on a Wednesday because I know most people's event stuff is on Thursday.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, here in Chicago, we have it. That's the biggest day here we have. And there's a lot of people, a lot of guests.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Well, do the profitable thing, Gilda.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Put those sales.
Yeah, that's working on it.
Cool.
All
All right, folks.
Thank you.
Let's go kick some butt, take some names, spread the good word, make a difference. We'll see you soon. Bye.